go. Actually, I will need my mouse at some point, so I'm just going to move my keyboard out of the way. My mouse over here. So, hello. It's almost 6:78. Just get my phone out of frame. And I'm here to do a Codex playthrough. I've set this up on my desk. It's kind of shoddy. I really don't know how this is going to turn out, but I hope it works. I'm running through the CAFS 2016 game of Frozenstorm versus EricF. Now both of them are using exactly the same codex, Pass, Peace, Anarchy, on both sides, both of them using the purple starter. You can't actually see this over here, so I'm running it down there, that's it. So this is EricF's side, here's player 2, this is Frozenstorm's side, here's player 1. And I'm going to be running through the game and talking about their decisions and their thoughts and what happened in them. Hopefully this camera angle is good. I really don't know if it is, but anyway. I hope my mic is going to pick this up really nicely for me, but anyway. It's a good quality mic, so it should. I can put it right in the middle of the table, but if you guys tell me the sound quality is too low, well, actually, it's right next to my fan, so. Jeez, I hope you caught all that. If you didn't catch all that, then I'm sorry. Let's put my mic here. That should be fine. Alright. So, here we are on the first turn. Just in case that the sound was ruined by my computer, because I didn't think of that. This is CAFS 2016 Frozenstorm vs EricF Pass, Peace, Anarchy on both sides. A Codex game breakdown. I don't know why I'm shuffling this, because there actually was a specific hand at the start of the turn. So, Frozenstorm starts the game. He has in his hand Nullcraft, Time Spiral, Hardened Mox, Plasmodium, and Neoplexus. All of these other cards are still in his deck. This is his starting hand. Now, sorry, I have to go find his thoughts. These posts are so long. Let's do a little full screen on it, and it should give me a bit more space. Okay, so Frozenstorm starts out the game saying he has no idea how to play a mirror. He immediately discards playing Mox, which would be a pretty obvious turn 1 play, as being a strong indestructible unit. You generally want to put this down on the board. I don't know if the camera will focus. Generally want to put this down on the board so that it stays there for a little while, but it trashes after a while. Costs 3 gold, it's pretty expensive, so you don't want to have to replay that. So he decides he's not going to play that because of the potential of Stewardess of the Undone, one of the past units. I have one here that can return Dexter units to his hand, which kind of makes that 3 gold you just played pretty worthless. For a 1-1 anyway. So, he actually immediately workers the Hardened Mox. Oh, sorry, I didn't get gold out. I have some down here. Okay, so he has 4 gold. So he immediately workers his Mox because he knows that he's not going to play that at all because Stewardess would just ruin it. That's what he spends his first gold on. Then he decides that he's probably he talks about which Tech 2 he's going to go for. He says he doesn't think Tech 2 is the right question since EricF will beat him to Tech 2 and whoever wins that race is just going to win the game. So he decides he's going to put pressure on and probably go towards Anarchy. Anyway, in the vein of his first play, he spends 2 gold and puts a Neoplexus on the field. It's just 2 gold for a 2/2. A nice little, just a little early game card. Not very great stats once you get into the actual good tech cards, but it'll do for a first turn play. He patrols that in Scavenger. Then he discards the rest of his cards of 3, puts out 1 gold here, and draws his next hand. We'll worry about that in a minute. Down to EricF. Now, EricF's first turn starts with 5 gold, of course, being player 2. You can see that, I put it there. And his opening hand is very similar. Plasmodium, Hardened Mox, Nullcraft, Time Spiral, and Tinkerer. Almost identical, actually. The Tinkerer was just swapped out for something else. No, that's not a Tinkerer, that's a Forgotten Fighter. Sorry about that. Okay, so EricF thinks along the same lines as Frozenstorm, that decides he's going to work at the hardened mocks. Stick that over there. Then he's a bit confused as to what to do, because Frozenstorm has just played a Neoplexus. It's a very strange sort of first turn play from a second player's perspective. So he decides that he's going to make a strange play, and he spends 2 gold to forecast a Plasmodium. Forecast, which puts it in the future. As in, when you play it, it just goes to the future. So let me get out some time runes to represent that. 1, 2, 3. And in 3 turns, it'll arrive. Well, possibly sooner if he does some shenanigans. Then he actually does do some shenanigans on his first turn. He spends 2 gold. He immediately gets out Zane, the old 2/2 hero with haste. As you can see that. And he immediately just attacks and kills the Neoplexus. And Zane dies as well, but because Frozenstorm has no heroes, there's no levels to give away. So Zane's dead for the moment. Neoplexus is dead. Frozenstorm does get 1 gold for the scavenger bonus there. Then EricF is done. He discards these and draws his next hand. Sweet. Okay. I don't need that. On his turn, Frozenstorm's turn, he takes in his first set of cards. I set them all over here in a nice little pile. He decides to take in Stewardess of the Undone. We looked at that one before. And General's Hammer, which is a nice Onimaru spell, which just allows you to do 3 damage to a building for 3 gold. Very simple, but can be quite useful when used correctly. So these text cards go over here in the discard pile, and we'll look at those in a bit. So he talks about in his thoughts. He says he spent a lot of time deciding on what he was going to take. He didn't really know, because he thinks it's going to have a huge impact. I think he was right. He nearly teched 2 times Stewardess of the Undone, but instead he teched in a General's Hammer so that he could try and destroy EricF's Tech 1 and get a nice early lead. So he, on his turn, in this hand, sorry, first he gains 5 gold. There we go. He gains his 5 gold, he now has 7. Because of the float and the scavenger gold. He decides to spend 2 gold and puts Fading Argonaut on the field. Fading Argonaut is a very nice unit. It's 2 gold for a 2/3. Now you might wonder why there's 2 units and one of them just has better stats, but it's fading, which means it comes into play and the time runes come back. Purple sort of deals with these a little bit. And in 3 turns it will fade away into the past, so if it's still alive when you take off the 3rd fading counter, it just dies. You can't do anything about it. Next, he spends 2 gold, and he summons Onimaru, a very strong hero. He starts out at a 2/3, but he has Frenzy, which means that if you get to attack with him, he's going to do extra damage. Oh, sorry, this is actually a... this is outdated. This is the correct version of the card. He max bans at 8, not 7. Anyway, not to worry. Oh, I do apologise. I'm a little sick. That's my water bottle. Okay. Sorry about that. Then he spends 2 gold to build his Tech 1. Costs him 2 gold because of the multicolour penalty. So we'll put a little house token there. I'm going to have everyone know that he's built his Tech 1. Then he spends 1 gold and he makes a worker out of the Tinkerer, which is a guy who manipulates time runes. But since he's playing past and he's planning to go towards Anarchy, he's not really working on manipulating time runes. So not a very useful card right at the moment. Then he discards his hand, he shuffles his deck. I'm not going to shuffle it obviously because I need to pull out the cards that he actually got. So what did he get? Battlesuits, Time Spiral, Plasmodium, Forgotten Fighter, and Stewardess of the Undone. This card is now his draw pile, this is his new hand, we'll worry about that in a bit. Okay, over to EricF. Now, we remove one time rune at the start of his turn from Plasmodium. Okay. Oh, then he gains gold. Jeez, I'm forgetting how to play Codex here, fellas. Okay, 6 gold because he has 6 workers. Very nice. So, the first thing he does is he makes a worker out of Neoplexus. Realizing that he's going to be taking in some better cards pretty soon. He really doesn't even... Oh, sorry, I forgot to actually talk about his tech choices first. We'll talk about that just before. Yeah, his first tech, he decides to get 2 Seers. Seers are also a unit of the Manipulator's Time Rune, but rather than having to stay and play like a Tinkerer, they just happen as soon as you play them. So he's going to try and use the Seers to get his Plasmodium out quicker, or maybe to do some other things. We'll find out. So these go into his discard pile first. Okay, then on his turn, he workers the Neoplexus. She's going over here to the worker pile. So, as it stands, oh, jeez, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at this. So, Frozenstorm patrolled Onimaru here, basically because, I don't know, maybe EricF would play Nullcraft and even want his Fading Argonaut to get Forgotten Fighted. Alright, I need to remember this. So, EricF is pretty sure that he's going to lose his Tech 1 this turn. He's about to build his Tech 1. I haven't got to that just now, but I will. Because right now Frozenstorm is representing at least 5 damage on the board, and EricF probably can't put that much defense down, and especially if Frozenstorm has a Stewardess or something else in his hand, he's probably going to be able to remove whatever EricF plays. EricF knows this, but he's taking in the Seers anyway, because he doesn't think that he's going to want to cast any spells, but he wants the Seers in his deck in the future. So then he decides to spend 2 gold and make a Fading Argonaut, which also comes into play with 3 time runes. You guessed it. Boom, boom. He then patrols it in Lookout, because he's pretty sure that if a Stewardess comes out, well, it's obviously going to be targeting this, so he's going to be trying to make it cost more with the Lookout slot. Gives it resist 1, makes it cost 1 extra to target by the opponent. Very nice. Then he's floating this 1 gold, and he discards the... Sorry, I just mixed up their hand. The 3 cards that were in his hand, and reshuffles. Now EricF doesn't actually put his next hand in his post, so I'll have to find out what that is in a bit. Sorry. So, it's Frozenstorm's turn. He gains 6 gold. There it is. So, we talked about his hand just before, but we didn't really say too much about it. Oh, I've got a notification. Oh, it's my opponent beating me. Awesome. So, the first thing that happens, Fading Rune comes off, and he takes in 2 cards. Can't forget that. So he takes in a Stewardess of the Undone and an Overeager Cadet. Let's talk about why. So, we already know what Stewardess does, but the Overeager Cadet is a 0 cost unit for 2/2. Now you might think, that's way better than a 2 cost for 2/2, and you're right, this is a Tech 1 unit, and that's why. Because you have to have your Tech 1 building, you have to take it into your deck, you can't play it immediately. Anyway, you go into the discard. Nice. So Frozenstorm is thinking like EricF. He thinks, if he knew he was going to have 8 gold, what would he take in? Probably Surprise Attack and Seer. I actually... Sorry, I left my Surprise Attack on another table. And by another table I mean my bed, which is a table. So, Surprise Attack, a very strong Zane spell, which suddenly summons 2/3/1 sharks with haste and ephemeral, which means you can suddenly do 6 damage. It does cost you 5 gold, but could be a very effective way of putting out some pressure. So Frozenstorm was suspecting that EricF is probably going to take a surprise attack to retake some pressure. Oh, seemed to get flipped up. Because he's going to lose his Tech 1. So he decides that he also knows that EricF will suspect that Frozenstorm will probably go for Stewardess. And that's why he put the Fading Argonaut in Lookout, of course. Frozenstorm accepts that Onimaro might die next turn, but that's okay. So he's trying to decide what he wants. He decides he probably wants another Stewardess, doesn't think he wants a Tech 2, so he gets himself a good old Ovary Cadet, who's always a solid play. For his turn, he spends 4 gold to summon a Stewardess of the Undone and return Fading Argonaut to EricF's hand. This is important, of course, because it usually only costs 3 gold by default, but the Lookout made him pay 1 extra gold. So Fading Argonaut goes back into EricF's hand, whatever that is, and these time runes go away, though I'm sure they'll come back very soon. Then he has Onimaro and Fading Argonaut, 2 damage and 3 damage, to destroy EricF's Tech 1. His base will take 2 damage for that. Bing, bing. You can't see those, can you? Oh, actually, that's because I should be using... Oh dear, I've messed up these cards. Oops. Anyway, I should be using the handy dandy base health slider. So let me just set that up. There we go. 20 and 20. This one goes down to 18. I don't really have anywhere good to put this. I'll just put it over here, I guess. And that way I'll be able to see it, even if you guys can't. Sorry. Actually, maybe if I move my stick of RAM, I can put it up here, and it might be just visible. Right next to my pens and my little Joker figure. Not really visible, but it's the best I can do. Sorry. Okay, then he makes a worker. He decides to work a... Where did I put his hand? Over here. Spends 1 gold, makes a worker of Forgotten Viner. He realizes he probably won't need to return too many units to EricF's hand with that, since he has Stewardesses. I'm so sorry. I just can't stop coughing. I do apologize. I really hope that doesn't ruin the video. I've been going for 18 minutes, I don't want to have to start again from the start. Anyway, okay. So then he patrols the Stewardess in Technician. I'm not exactly sure why, because he's already drawing 5 cards, but he really wants to draw another for some reason. I don't know the logic behind that. It might be because he's planning on playing several cards next turn with the Ovary Cadet. Anyway, I don't know for certain, but he doesn't talk about it. Okay, then he reshuffles. Well, sorry. First he discards. He draws these cards. Then he reshuffles and draws one of these cards. Which one is it? This one. Cool. That's his deck. Okay. So EricF drew Time Spiral, Seer, Forgotten Viner, Battle Suits, and had Fading Argonaut in his hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's correct. So he really unfortunately drew both of his Tech 1s, and his Tech 1 was destroyed. So he doesn't have heaps of good options here. He does get himself 7 gold. So his next tech is Origin Story and Chaos Mirror. He starts taking in some spells. Origin Story simply allows him to return a hero to the command zone, which means they lose all their levels and other things. And Chaos Mirror... oh dear. allows him to play shenanigans with combat stats. The attack of cards can be swapped. That always provides for some interesting things. Alright, we'll put those away. So, he has 7 gold. Well, sorry, technically 8 gold. He got 7. So he spends 2 gold on replaying the Fading Argonaut. Oh, do pardon me, 1 rune came off the Plasmodium. He then spends another 2 gold, summons Print, because he really wants to spend 1 gold and cast Time Spiral, which allows him to remove or add a rune to a thing. And he removes the final rune from Plasmodium, so it finally arrives. It also has haste, so he's about to start doing some evil things. Oh no, sorry, that's not what he does. I read that wrong, pardon me. No, he didn't remove a rune from this. He removed a rune from Frozenstorm's Fading Argonaut, meaning that it will fade out next turn. Very sneakily destroying a unit with Time Spiral. Which doesn't happen very often, let me tell you. That's a very niche case. Then he spends gold to Worker, Forgotten Fighter. Very similar worker choices from both of them. And he spends his final 2 gold to get Battle Suits on the field, which increases the attack damage by 1 of all of his soldiers and mystics, which is one of the main reasons that his deck exists, past and peace specifically, because Battle Suits increases the attack of basically oh, I'm so sorry, every unit in Peace's deck, which is quite impressive. It allows them to trade up very nicely. Then he rebuilds his Tech 1 for free, discards 2 cards, and draws 3, and then reshuffles and draws 1 more. But again, I don't know what it is because he doesn't write in what his next hand is until his next turn. Okay. So, Frozenstorm gets 7 gold from his 7 workers. He had 1 floated. The final rune removes from Fading Argonaut and he dies. And he takes in 2 cards. Those next 2 cards being Chameleon Lizzo, which is a little hasty unit that also has stealth and returns to his hand if he still has it in play at the end of the turn. And Surprise Attack, wrongly costed here at 4 because these are my old cards. It actually costs 5. So we actually did have 1 and I forgot about it. Anyway, so do pardon me. So he takes in a Tech 2 card and Dispel, and then he says that what he's actually going to do in this turn is he's going to try and trick EricF into thinking he's playing something else. When he's actually just trying to tech up for Tech 2. He's going to try and make EricF think that he's taking in Art of War for Onimaru, but he's actually just teching up, preparing to play that next turn. He wanted to have the choice of either playing for Tech 2 or playing Surprise Attack, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So, on his turn, what he does is he spends 2 gold and summons Neoplexus. We've seen her before. He then spends... Alright, yes, he spends 5 gold. 2, 4, 5. I just had to read what he was doing because I couldn't figure it out for a second. To level up Onimaru. Now, I do apologise for how I use these because I don't put them on for a level 1 hero, but then I use them to designate the level of the hero. So he spends 5 gold to level him to level 6. So we've got 3 level things on each of these levels. That's how it works. I just have to explain that so you guys understand. So he's now mid-band. And is a 3/4 with Frenzy, so he'd be a 4/4, and Readiness. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to look at EricF's patrolling. So EricF patrolled Sprin here, and Fading Argonaut over here again, so that he didn't get bounced. as easily. Right. Then, Onimaru, with his readiness, and 4 damage, Prin has 3 health and 1 armor, he attacks Prin, stays ready, kills Prin, and he gains 2 levels for that. And those 2 levels put him to level 8, which is his max band. And as a result, he generates 1, 2, 3 little tokens. I really hope this is focusing correctly. I'm not sure if it is. Come on. Focus in. And focus out. Now, well, it doesn't really matter too much, I guess. As long as you guys can tell what's going on, and I hope you can. So then he makes a worker. His worker being the Plasmodium in his hand. That goes over here to the worker pile. And he then discards 3 cards, draws 4, reshuffles, and draws. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm knocking on the mirror around. He draws Surprise Attack in his hand, which is what he didn't want, but yeah, we'll talk about that next turn. Then he patrols. He puts 1 soldier here, he puts a soldier here, he puts a soldier here, and he puts Neoplexus here and Stewardess here, and Onimaru is just chilling back here. He is ready, so he could have patrolled, but obviously he's just trying to prevent him from dying by putting him behind all of these things, so it's unlikely that he'll die. Alright, that looks good. EricF. So what was his hand in the end? 1, 2, 3, and he drew Chaos Mirror. Cool. Alright, so EricF takes in. Yes, he takes in Flagstone Garrison. Ooh. Sorry, my map's a bit dodgy. I think I've dropped it too many times. Oh, okay, there we go. Stay. Okay, sorry about that. So he takes in an Overeager Cadet, we've seen him before, and Flagstone Garrison, a nice little card that allows you to draw a card every time you play a unit from your hand. Synergizes incredibly well with Overeager Cadet, who is a soldier. I didn't mention that before. Alright, he takes those cards into the discard. On his turn, he's trying to decide what he wants to do. He knows he wants to build a Tech 2, probably. That's what he's saying, but then he decides on something different. This is his thoughts. Yeah, he's looking at what he's going to play. Oh no, sorry. He says no need to build a Tech 2 this time, so he's deciding what he's going to do. He says, I don't need to build a Tech 2, instead I'm going to try and do some things to the board. So he knows that next turn he's going to draw Origin Story, he's going to use Print and play that on Onimaru. So for the moment he's just going to try and focus on clearing as much stuff as he can. So he gets his gold, all 8 of it. The Plasmodium arrives. It's hasted and ready to go. He makes a worker of... oops. Yes, he makes a worker of Tinkerer, figuring it's probably not useful with these Seers running around in the deck. He spends 2 and plays Nullcraft. It's a flying 1/1 with haste, which makes it very strong. As it's flying, it doesn't often die because it gets to deal its damage without being hit back if the opposing unit is not flying or anti-air. And haste means it can be a very surprising. Well, flying also allows it to fly over things, and because it has haste, it can be a very surprising 1 damage to any way you want, really. Alright, and then he spends 2 gold, and he brings out Zane again, the old haste. Then he has the Fading Argonaut. He's over here. Sorry, he also faded by 1. He's over here still kicking around, doing things. So Fading Argonaut attacks with... He actually has 3 damage because of battle suits, but he doesn't need it. He kills this soldier. Bye-bye, soldier. These things can chill in here. Nullcraft strikes and hits the lookout soldier and kills that. Plasmodium hits the stewardess and kills it. He takes 2 damage in return. 1 and 2. Stewardess dies. Frozenstorm does draw a card. I'll look at what that is in a sec. And then Zane kills the Neoplexus for the 2nd time. Now, because Onimaru is already max banned, there's no levels to gain off that. So it's not a huge problem for EricF if that happens. He then spends 2 gold to put Onimaru on the field. Patrols Onimaru and Scavenger. Floats a single gold, discards these 2 cards from his hand, and draws the remaining 4 cards in his deck. Sweet. I sure hope I am not forgetting anything. Okay, so what card did he draw? He drew General's Hammer off the Technician, so that goes to here. Right. On Frozenstorm's turn, he's already decided in going in Anarchy, as he spoke before. He's feeling pretty confident with himself, so he takes in double Steam Tank to help him defend. It's just a bulky unit for 3 gold, but it can also do some damage if you actually get to swing in a building with it. So he decides to take these in, and he's going for Pirate Gunship in the end, which is a very strong text per unit. And he's probably going to win, he believes, because he's got a strong position, he's going to do some things, and then he's going to put his tech 3 and win the game. That's his plan. Let's see if it works out. For those of you who have already seen this game, please don't spoil it. Whether it does or doesn't. Okay. He has 8 gold here. He spends 3 gold. He plays Stewardess of the Undone and returns the Plasmodium to EricF's hand. And commenting that it's probably going to get worked, which is very true. It's not really worth playing a Plasmodium at this point in the game. He gets it over, he gets it out for free. And then he spends 4 gold, and his aforementioned Feint comes into play, and he builds a Tech 2. Now he has to announce a spec. I already put some spec cards over here that I prepared earlier, and he announces Anarchy as his Tech 2, as we already knew. Onimaru, being much stronger, kills this Onimaru, and stays ready. He does take 2 damage in retaliation. 1 and 2. This Onimaru is dead. Oh, and not him. Prin flipped up at the end of EricF's last turn. And EricF gets 1 gold for that. Then Frozenstorm spends his 1 final gold to make a worker of Time Spiral, which he definitely doesn't need. Very good. He then patrols this soldier in Squad Leader, the Ovary Cadet in Technician, and the Stewardess in Scavenger. Onimaru's chilling back here still. I honestly think he should be putting him here in Lookout, but it's his own prerogative, I guess. I think he was specifically baiting into an origin story by doing this. Oh, and he does, of course, discard the 3 cards, and then draw 4 cards, and 1 more, after a little reshuffle, which is obviously pointless. He gets a Steam Tank in his reshuffle hand, so that's pretty good for him, actually. Okay, on to EricF's next turn. So, he has these 5 cards in his hand. He had 4, but he got the Plasmodium returned to it. He collects his 9 gold. There we go. So now he has 11 in total. So he's thinking he could play his whole hand out of the Seer and the Time Spiral to attack with the Plasmodium again, but he thinks that's pretty strange. to try and want to do that. Now, he actually does not work at the Plasmodium, as you might expect. He works the Time Spiral, thinking that perhaps he'll need that later. Oh yes, and sorry, he did tech in another Flagstone Garrison to try and get more drawing cards, and Drill Sergeant, a very strong, very strong unit, which every time you play any other unit, it gains +1/+1 runes, and you can get very big very fast, especially with Flagstone Garrison, because you draw cards and you get bigger cards. It's a lot of fun, actually. Oh, and one feeding rune did disappear from this guy. Goodness, there's so much to keep track of. So he spends 2 gold, plays Pring. He spends 3 gold, 2, 3, and plays Origin Story. We talked about this before, and returns Onimaru to his command zone, so he loses all his levels and loses his damage. Now, interestingly enough, this doesn't kill him, so he doesn't get flipped face down. He can still be summoned again next turn if Frozenstorm really wanted him to. We'll see if that happens or not, but anyway. So then, Fading Argonaut kills this soldier. Goodbye, all the soldiers are dead. He does take 1 single damage in retaliation. EricF then plays one of his seers and adds a time rune to Fading Argonaut, so he'll stick around for another turn. And then he spends his final 4 gold, builds his Tech 2. Here's one I prepared earlier, in Peace. You can't see that, but it's Peace. Okie dokie. Then, he has his Nullcraft Swing, attack this Stewardess for single damage. And then he patrols Prin right here in Elite, to give her an extra attack, and Seer here in Scavenger, which has 3 attack because of battle suits. Cool. He then discards 2 cards, he reshuffles and draws 4. I don't know what they are yet. We'll find out. Well, I mean, I technically do because I've read it before, but I can't remember exactly. Frozenstorm comments that he really likes how well EricF uses time runes. He then techs in, as he said before, he was planning on getting those pirate gunships in as quick as he can. Bam, look at that. Isn't that a beast of a card? 6 gold for a 7/6 flying, haste, long range, resist 2, and obliterate 2. What a legend. Alright, those go into this card. Okay, let's have a look at his thoughts. So he baited out the origin story, and Frozenstorm comments that his EricF has shown that he's going to be trying to play the Peace Tech 2 game, but he was ready for that, so he's planning on locking it out, retaining his Tech 2 and building a Tech 3, and then suddenly just bringing out pirate gunships. He's feeling really confident, and I think he's probably right to be honest. So, on his turn, he gets 9 gold. He spends 2 gold. And he puts Prin on the field. Just so she can chill, I guess. He spends 4 gold. And gets out Chameleon Lizzo, the aforementioned hasty dude. Then he spends 2 gold. And gets out Nullcraft, another hasty dude. Now, as we talked about, Lizzo has stealth, which means he can sneak past the patrol zone if the opponent doesn't have a detector, which EricF does not, and Nullcraft being flying in haste. So these guys have 5 combined damage. He uses them both and destroys EricF's Tech 2. Oh dear, that's looking bad for Eric. 2 health lost. Then he finally works a card. He works his own Fading Argonaut, which I think is questionable when he had Temporal Research in his hand. And let's be honest, is he planning on playing that? Oh, this whole time I've actually been forgetting that Printer herself uses fading counters, but neither player has been keeping track of them because she comes into play with 4 fading counters, and to ever have those run out is really rare. But technically I should be tracking them, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Honestly, I don't think it matters. Okay. So he works his Fading Argonaut. Goes through, draws 4. What does he draw? He draws General's Hammer, Surprise Attack, Neoplexus, Stewardess, and he. Sorry, yes, he draws. Oh yeah, this is correct. Sorry. General's Hammer, Surprise Attack, Neoplexus, Stewardess, and Chameleon Lizzo returns to his hand. Sorry, I got mixed up for a moment there. And he patrols Prinnin's squad leader. Interesting that he's apparently just going to sacrifice her. He does mention that, and he says he's not too worried about it because he's trying to prevent EricF from playing Zane. Yes, let's look these guys up. So this is the hand. We'll put that aside. Alright. Okay, EricF takes in his final 2 cards. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but he takes in 2 more cards, Ovary Cadet and Drill Sergeant again. We've seen these cards before, we know what they do. Excellent. Yeah. De-exhausts both his dudes. What hand did he draw? He drew Chaos Mirror, Seer, Flagstone Garrison, and Ovary Cadet. Okay, he gets 10 gold. And a Fading Rune disappears from both Prin and Fading Argonaut. Boom. Okay, what is EricF's first action? He has his Fading Argonaut that deals 3 damage. Boom. To deal 3 damage to Prin, one of which is absorbed by the armor, and then Nullcraft deals the final point of damage. Fading Argonaut does take a hit. Prin of Frozenstorm is dead. And Prin of EricF gains 2 levels. Prin then, EricF then spends 1 gold to level Prin up to mid-band. Sorry, these should be out of the patrol zone. So she's now a 2-4 instead of a 1-3. He then has Prin kill the Stewardess, because Prin does 2 damage, the Stewardess had 2 health. Frozenstorm gets 1 gold. Prin takes 2 damage. But then EricF immediately spends 3 gold to max band Prin to level 7, and actually the time runes do matter. Oh, because when she attacks, she gains a time rune, and then the max band ability allows her to remove 2 time runes and banish something. So he removes 2 runes and he vanishes Frozenstorm's Nullcraft. Basically means it's removed from the game at the moment. It might come back later if Prin dies. He then spends 2 gold, well technically 1 gold for Seer to put a time rune on Prin, and another 1 gold to make a worker. Interestingly enough, he workers his Flagstone Garrison because he knows he's not playing it this turn. So he just gets rid of that, he's not too worried about it. He spends 3 gold to build a tower to get himself a little bit of extra defense against that Chameleon Lizzo, and just do some damage in the, because the tower allows him to detect 1 thing per turn. It's an add-on. It sits over here in his add-on slot. You can't see it, I'm so sorry. Yeah. There we go. And he plays an Ovary Cadet for free, as why not? He also rebuilds his tech too, unsurprisingly. He puts the Cadet here in Squad Leader. He puts the Seer over here in Scavenger. And he puts his other Seer over here in Technician. Now, we could have had this old seer destroy the Ovary Cadet, but I assume he just didn't want to give more cards to Frozenstorm, and defending is better anyway, at the moment. Preen is here, Fading Argonaut is here. Why hasn't he listed Fading Argonaut on his side of the board? Oh, it took a damage somewhere. Oh yes, I forgot to put damage on it when it killed the soldier. Sorry about that, this is actually dead. It is dead now because it killed Preen. I just forgot to record that. I make a lot of mistakes, I'm sorry. I'll figure it out. Anyway, so that guy was dead. I was just checking the game state against what I had in front of me, making sure it worked. Yes, this looks correct now. Fantastic. So he discards 1 card and draws 3. He has 5 left in his deck, so we'll find out about those later. Oh, that was strange. Alright. Frozenstorm decides that if he doesn't win immediately off those gunships, he needs to take in some more cards. I think it's personally a bad idea because he really needs to reshuffle and keep his deck thin to draw those gunships. But he instead decides to take in an Elite Training. It's a spell that just buffs a couple of your guys for 1 turn. Could be very useful. And Disguised Monkey, another guy with haste and stealth. He costs a bit less, he doesn't return to your hand, and he's a little bit weaker, but he can do some interesting things for you. Alright. On Scavenger Gold, and he gains 10. Oops. They're flying around. Prince still dead at the moment. Alright. So, first thing he does, he spends 2 gold. He puts Onimaro into play. Then he spends 3 gold. He puts Stewardess of the Undone on the board, bounces Nullcraft back into EricF's hand. We don't know exactly what's in his hand at the moment, but like I said, we'll worry about that later. He spends 5 gold. And he starts building his Tech 3, and he spends his final gold on a worker. What is it? It's Neoplexus from in his hand. Boom, there it goes. Neoplexus is worked. Then he just patrols. He puts Stewardess of the Undone here. Ovary Cadet stays there, and Onimaro goes to here. He then discards 3 cards. Oops. Draws 2, reshuffles, and draws 3 more. In his thoughts, he talks about how EricF's board position is suddenly increasing, and he's not really sure what he's going to do. He's building the Tech 3, but he thinks he's going to lose it. So he doesn't feel super confident anymore. He does indeed get a Pirate Gunship in his next hand, and a Disguised Monkey and a Chameleon though. So he does have a bit of stealth there. Depending on what happens, he might be able to play the gunship or not. Hard to say. Anyway. EricF. He steps up to the plate. Oh goodness. I really need EricF to put proper lines in his post. Ooh. Okay, his hand is this Nullcraft, Plasmodium, Flag Zone Garrison, and Origin Story. That's his whole deck. So we ready everything. Bryn loses a rune. He gains, how much gold does he gain? 11 gold. So there's a whole block of thoughts from EricF here. If you want to read it, you can go and read it yourself. I'm not going to read it. I will be linking this game in the description of the video, so you can go and check it out. So there's 12 gold here, available to EricF. Basically, he's listing a bunch of different possible turns, and yeah, I don't need to talk about them all because I'll just talk about the one that he actually did. So, let's see what he does. First thing he does, 3 gold. He plays that Flagstone Garrison. It's going to help him draw some cards. He spends 2 gold. Oh, I actually do need to see what he did. Because I can't... He doesn't exactly say what he drew. Oh, actually, he kind of does. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'll just do the cards as he plays them. So, he spends 2 gold. He plays Nullcraft. He draws a card. Now, the card he draws is this one, I believe. Right, so let's talk about what he does next. So, Nullcraft and Prin. Prin has 3 attack, Nullcraft has 1. Attack the Stewardess of the Undone, which kills it because it has 3 health and 1 armor. Nullcraft, of course, takes no damage. Prin takes 2 damage and gains a time rune. He then has his Overeager Cadet with 3 attack. Attack Onimaru and trade with him. Frozenstorm gets a gold. He then spends 2 gold. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I took 4 off for the Nullcraft by accident. 2 for Temporal Research, because there are 3 time runes on Prin at the moment. So he draws 2 cards, being the Drill Sergeant and something else from in his deck. I don't know exactly what. This goes to the discard. He draws something. Because he then spends 3 gold to play the Drill Sergeant and draws another card. So I'll just start looking from the deck at this point because I don't know exactly what it is. Oh, actually, he does say what it is. The deck order was... I see. So he drew Fading Argonaut first, off the Temporal Research, and then off the Drill Sergeant he drew Overeager Cadet. So he immediately plays the Cadet and draws another Drill Sergeant. So upon playing the Cadet, this Drill Sergeant gains a +1/+1 rune. I hope I'm making this clear. I have no idea, to be honest. I'm trying my best. He spends 2 gold, plays Fading Argonaut, draws another card, and Drill Sergeant gains a rune. He then drew an Overeager Cadet, so he plays the Cadet, he draws the final card in his deck, and Drill Sergeant gains yet another rune, and things are starting to get very scary. Okay, then he has his Seer, trade with Frozenstorm's Cadet. Frozenstorm draws a card. I don't know what that is yet. And he puts 2 runes, because Drill Sergeant could also move the runes around, so he puts 2 runes on this Seer, and the Seer then attacks and breaks Frozenstorm's Tech 3, his base takes 2 damage. Sorry, that's my pens, multiple. Then he discards 4 cards from his hand, reshuffles his deck and draws 5 of them. We'll find out about that in a sec. He takes this Overeager Cadet, puts it in Squad Leader. He takes this one, puts it in Scavenger. He takes the Fading Argonaut and puts it in Lookout. And he puts this Drill Sergeant in Technician. And now has an incredibly scary board. It is at this moment in time that Frozenstorm concedes. I'm just taking my chair back from my Codex box. So basically, upon seeing this, Frozenstorm realizes that he's in a losing battle at this point, and there's basically nothing he can do. With his board being completely wiped, his Tech 3 destroyed, and no hope for playing Gunship, a Flagstone Garrison, and a Drill Sergeant on EricF's side of the board, and all of these units with battle suits up. At this point, Frozenstorm would need a sheer miracle to be able to win. So, with good draws, good techs, and maybe not enough pressure by your opponent, you can easily swing a game in 2 turns. So there you have it. That's a Codex game. I have no idea if that was in any way informative or helpful or entertaining or anything. Please tell me everything if I can do better. Be nice. I'm probably not very good at this, but please give me lots of feedback. If the camera angle sucks, tell me. If my lighting sucks, tell me. If my mic sucks, tell me. If I'm really boring, definitely tell me. And if I need to explain things clearer, go ahead and tell me. As for the rest of it, yeah, EricF's really good. Frozenstorm's also pretty good. I respect them both as players. I think they're probably both better than me, to be honest. But I enjoy, looking at things and examining them, so hopefully you did too. This has been Bomber678. I think that's all. See you!